Imagine an empire at its peak. Armies, borders stretching across maps, treasuries filled with silver. Now remove one thing. Not the soldiers, not the leaders, not the money. Remove the roads, and the empire collapses. Not in battle, but in balance sheets. When we talk about empires, we talk about battles, generals, and conquest, victories carved in stone. But conquest is an expense. Empires last only if they can pay for themselves, and that requires systems. The most important system wasn't military. It was what allowed the army to move. Roads. It was logistical and economic. Roads turned conquest into revenue. Land has no value if it can't be reached. Crops can't be taxed. Goods can't be traded, and labor can't be organized. A road changed that. It lowered the cost of movement. And when transport costs fall, economic activity rises. Empires didn't just expand outward, they monetized distance. To us, roads feel ordinary, background infrastructure, and taken for granted. But in the ancient world, a road was authority made physical. A road meant orders could travel, taxes could be collected, and reinforcements could arrive. Empires didn't expand evenly, they expanded along roads. Rome's roads weren't charity. They were investments built with upfront costs, but long-term return. Rome didn't conquer the Mediterranean because its soldiers were braver. It conquered because it moved faster. Roman roads were engineered for permanence, straight lines, stone foundations, and drainage. They weren't built for trade first. They were built for legions. But once built, everything followed. Merchants, officials, and messages. Taxes flowed more reliably. Trade volumes increased. And administrative costs fell. A governor could collect revenue and deliver it intact. Roads stabilized cash flow. Territory without access is just a claim. Empires don't run on tribute alone. They run on predictable income. A map line means nothing if authority can't reach it. Roads solved that problem. They turned distant regions into reachable ones. A governor could arrive. A tax collector could return. A rebellion could be answered. Roads allowed census data to travel, tax schedules to be enforced, and audits to occur. They reduced leakage. And in finance, reducing leakage matters more than raising rates. Roads didn't just connect places, they connected decisions to consequences. Where roads met, markets formed. Merchants didn't invent trade routes, they followed infrastructure. Roads standardized weights, measures, and pricing. They reduced uncertainty, which increased trade. And trade expanded the tax base. Armies don't fight on courage, they fight on supply. They consumed enormous resources, grain, metal, animals. Roads turned supply from improvisation into accounting. The empire that fed its army fastest usually won. Not because it wanted to fight, but because it could sustain fighting. Inventories could be planned, and costs could be estimated. Furthermore, empires that managed supply well controlled inflation. Those that didn't paid with instability. Prices depend on information, and taxes do too. Roads moved information faster than rumors. Orders traveled outward. Reports traveled back, and this created feedback. Crop failures were reported. Shortages were anticipated. Revenues adjusted. Information reduced surprises, and reduced surprises protect economies. An emperor didn't rule blindly. He ruled with updates. Roads reduced uncertainty, and reduced uncertainty is a form of power. As roads decayed, so did revenue. Transport costs rose. Trade shrank. Tax collection weakened. Empires didn't suddenly collapse. They lost efficiency, and inefficiency compounds. Even after empires fell, Their roads remained economic arteries. Medieval trade routes followed Roman paths. Cities grew where roads intersected. The system persisted even when authority vanished. Infrastructure shapes economies long after politics fades. Empires weren't built on gold. They were built on circulation and the ability to move goods, labor, and revenue predictably. Roads made that possible. They turned geography into income. This pattern wasn't unique. Persian roads, Chinese imperial routes, Incan road networks. Different cultures, same logic. Control followed infrastructure. Empires weren't built on maps. They were built on paths. History remembers battles, but empires survive on budgets. Roads didn't just connect cities. They connected production to taxation, trade to treasury, and power to payment. That's the quiet truth. The foundations of empire were not heroic. They were economic, and they were paved.